there is a verse that's in the book of Matthew, which is something else. It's in Matthew chapter 13. Interestingly enough, 13 is one of those unlucky numbers, right? But yet, it's certainly a very beautiful, beautiful chapter in the Bible. It's a bunch of parables. And it said this of Jesus, verse 34, Jesus spoke all of these things to the crowd in what? Do you know what a word parable means? Is parable a real, actual event? It's interesting because sometimes, I have heard people that say, well, Jesus does not lie, so everything he told happened. Now, that's not what parable means. Parable means it's an idea that you transfer into real life through a story. Parabole, to speak beside. It's something to understand. And so therefore, he spoke all of these things to the crowd in parables. He did not say anything to them without using what? A parable. So was fulfilled that was spoken through the prophet, I will open my mouth in parables. I will utter things hidden since creation of the world. Only through parables do you understand real life. Let's put up this. You can see it in the background over on this side, I guess. But Lily, let's go ahead and put the Sneeches up with me on the video. And Parable of the Sneeches. Ever heard of Dr. Seuss? No? Yes? Yes? All right. Let's go ahead and have that. Can you do the double? There it is. But the one with me close by. So, Parable of the Sneeches. Ever since I was a child, this was a book that I had. I remember Dad bought it for me. And I had the Sneeches and other stories. And there are 2 sermons that I have made from these parables. Not I have made, but I have told. So I'm going to read this along with you. Are you ready? Yes. You see those guys? Kind of looks like me. Except it has more hair than me. Now the star belly Sneeches had bellies with stars. The plain belly Sneeches had none upon theirs. Those stars weren't so big. They were really so small. You might think that thing wouldn't matter at all. How do you like it? You like that? We feel like we're in preschool, don't we? But actually, there was a book by Robert Fulghum said, everything I learned in kindergarten. Which is actually, have you ever seen that book? No? Yeah, I know. I know we're in Los Angeles, and the little children do their thing. But we're cool. We don't need to do the little kid thing, right? The only problem is that's why the world the way it is. Jesus said, until we become like little children, we cannot understand, we cannot even see the kingdom of heaven. So, Dr. Seuss continues. But because they had stars, all the star-belly Sneeches would brag. We're the best kind of Sneeches on the beaches. With their snoots, you know what a snoot is, right? Snoot. Yeah, I know, this is old, right? with their snoots in the air, they would sniff and they would snort. Will have nothing to do with that plain belly sort. Now you see the difference. Can you see there's Sneeches with stars, right? And there's Sneeches without stars. By the way, the one with the star kind of makes the tummy look bigger, I guess. But not sure if it works for me. If I have a plain belly, I don't know, man. Isn't this interesting? We as human beings, we as Sneeches, we oftentimes like to define who's important by who we are, because it makes us feel good. Even if we don't like ourselves, we do that. In fact, oftentimes, the thing that makes us the most arrogant is that which we put other people down with. We put down the things the things we don't like in ourselves are the things we put down in others. How about that? Is that a better way to say it? I remember that when I was in second grade, I complained about one of the guys, one of my friends in my class. And you know what my teacher said to me? John, sometimes the thing that we don't like in ourselves is what we do. We complain about others. As a kid, I thought about that. Now, some kids just move on, but I was one of those that always I have to sit there and think about it. I start chewing my fingers and trying to figure it out. It's true. So, where was I? And whenever they met some, without stars that is, when they were out walking, they'd hike right on past without even talking. When the Starbelly children went out to play, could a plain belly get in the game? Not at all. You know, you only could play if your bellies had stars, and the plain belly children had none upon theirs. See that picture? Kind of reminds me sometimes of playgrounds that I've been in before. You know? I grew up in New York, and actually most of my friends were of Jamaican or Haitian or Puerto Rican descent. The guys who were white that were around me, many of them were not Seventh-day Adventists. They were Catholic. They were either Irish or Italian. And I remember I got excluded plenty at the playground in my house. In fact, I once got burned by a cigarette by one of my, as a kid. I'm a kid. I got burned on the face with, one of these things. And it's like, wow. So I found myself, even though I look just like the other person, so to say. So from the outside, you would say you look just like, but you don't look alike because you're not like. Because we all see what we want to see in life. And the plain belly don't belong. The star belly are more important. Remember that. We all have our own ways of judging others. You may use politics, red, blue. By the way, Europe is opposite of ours. Did you know that? Red here, which is oftentimes like conservative, in Germany is actually the opposite, because red was always more communist, and blue is always more conservative there, but it's opposite. So it's kind of weird. When I first saw the colors here in the United States, I was like, to me, I always had the European mindset of like red is like communist. And I was like, what? What, George Bush? What? Anyway, but the thing is we have our own colors and our own ways, and we all judge each other by what we grow up with, by how we want to judge others. Maybe it's the color of skin. Maybe it's whether you wear a suit at church or not. I know I have to wear a tie. I can't stand wearing ties, but apparently I look better with a tie. Maybe. I don't know how you can make this look better with it, but anyway. We all have our ways of judging. Let's continue the parable. When the Starbelly Sneeches had Frankfurter toasts, or picnics or patties or a marshmallow roast. They never invited the plain belly Sneeches. They left them out in the cold, in the dark, on the beaches. They kept them away, never let them come near. And that's how they treated them year after year. Something's about to happen. When the starbelly Sneeches, oh, I did it again. I'll keep that going. All right. Then one day, it seems, while the plain belly Sneeches were moping and doping alone on the beaches, just sitting there, wishing that their bellies had what? Stars. Oh, don't we wish we were cool like everybody else? Wishing that their bellies had stars. This is what I love about Dr. Seuss. It is literally Ecclesiastes here. It's literally, this is a mirror of how life is, but using unreal words that have very real meaning. Does that make sense? Beautiful music. All right. So then we continue on, just sitting with their bellies, wishing they had stars. A stranger zipped up in the strangest of cars. This guy, do you see this? Sylvester McMonkey McBean. I love these names. That was my favorite. I actually, in this same Dr. Seuss book, there's one that goes through like 49 different names that Dr. Seuss came up with. And you ever see the Cat in the Hat or anything like that, you know, like the Grinch and all that? This is all the same because it's an underlying meaning and it's meant to not be real but yet be very real. So up drives Sylvester McMonkey McBean. I need to go back. My friends, he announced in a voice clear and keen, my name is Sylvester McMonkey McBean, and I've heard of your troubles. I've heard you're unhappy, and I can fix that. I am the fix-up chappie. That's an old word, isn't it, chappie? I'm the guy that can do everything. I can fix all problems, right? I've come here to help you. And I have what you need. Have you heard that before? You know those infomercials all night long? Those things that make everything better? Those emails you receive, if only my skin was this way and my acne was that way. If only my hair grew. I went to Turkey and always is the question, Fabio, the question that came to me last year was, Pastor, gonna have your hair done? And I go, that's true. In the plane, Anna and I saw all the guys with the, with their, it's just amazing. And I think I'll pass. I'm gonna just keep growing my 3 hairs and doing this with it. Okay, so anyway, we all have answers in our lives. The thing that's going to make it better, it's going to be money. If only I had a platform. If only I had better people around me. If only I had the right relationship in my life. If only I had, as pastors, if only I had the right church. If only I had the right people. If only I had the right this, the right that. I wish everybody. The fix-up chappie is going to give us all his answers, and we'll see if it answers. You think he's going to be able to answer it? Actually, he does a very good job. But let's see what's real in this. I've come to help you. I have what you need. And my prices are low. And I work with great speed. And my work is 100% guaranteed. Then quickly, Sylvester McMonkey McBean put together a very particular machine. And he said, you want stars like the starbelly Sneech? My friends, you can have them for $3 each. That's not bad, huh? A $3 star right here. Now, back in the 1960s when this was written, $3 was pretty expensive, right? But today, it's like $3 each. That's, you know, the Dollar Tree prices, right? Even though it's the Dollar Tree, you notice it's not $1 anymore. But got a good star, stick it on your belly. Now you're as important as the President of the United States. Right? This is how human beings are. We all want to be cool. We all want to be a part of that in crowd. And for Sylvester McMonkey McBean, it's going to make him a lot of money. I wish I was Sylvester McMonkey McBean. Sometimes us Christians think that Christianity is all about that. If you just give us a few dollars to the plate, God, like a dog, is going to roll over for you and do everything you want. God, like dog, you get... Sometimes we view him like that. When we give, it's not directly connected. It's something that matters for ministry. But we sometimes get in that whole, if I give you this, then you give me that mindset. That corporate mindset, that, not just corporate, that exchange mindset. He said, you want stars on your belly? You want stars like a Starbelly Sneech? My friends, you can have them for only $3 each. Just pay me your money and hop right aboard. You see that machine? Kind of a cool machine, isn't it? When I was a kid, I was like, I love those machines. In fact, that's why I love The Grinch, the film, the one with Jim Carrey in it. That was really, it's got all that kind of thing. It made it real. It's kind of cool, Dr. Seuss, but it is real, but from a different point of view. So they clamored inside. Then the big machine roared. It knocked and it bonked and it jerked and it burked and it bopped them about, but the thing really worked. When the plain belly Sneeches popped out, they had stars. They actually did. They had stars upon theirs. They're the cool people now. Isn't that cool? Only $3 makes them cool. And so they pop out. Now, by the way, do you see how the hair, I love how Dr. Seuss's hair gives you their emotion. Did you ever notice that? Their hair, their eyebrows and hair gives an emotion. And the guys with stars go, wait a minute. Wait a minute, that's not fair. We're the cool people. Who are you doing in my place? Remember Titanic? Yeah, you have the people that are upper class and then the lower. But when the ship goes down, everybody goes down. Doesn't matter where your class is or how much you paid. But here we are. Good grief, moaned the ones who had stars at the first. We're still the best Sneeches, and they are the what? Do you hear that? It had nothing to do with stars. It had nothing to do with what's on the outside. It had to do with the inside. Hey kids, there's a little handout to you. You're going to love it. It's got the Sneeches on it. And it quotes a text from Samuel. God does not look on the outside, but looks on the what? On the heart. He sees. So we continue. But now, how in the world will we know? They all frowned. This is the guys with stars, right? The original stars. If which kind is what, or what other way round? Then they yelled at the ones who had stars at the start. Now, then the guys that have the new stars, right? Then the ones with the new stars yelled at the stars from the start. We're exactly like you. You can't tell us apart. We're just all the same, you snooty old Smarties, now we can go to your Frankfurter parties. We've never seen this in life, have we? Have you? You ever been to the Golden Globes or the Oscars? By the way, you notice that the amount of people watching the Oscars has been exponentially dropping. Sometimes we become so about ourselves that we forget why we do what we do. We religious people are no different. Wasn't that the Dark Ages? You know anything about the Dark Ages? When we do Theater of the Universe, coming up at like the last weekend of April, there is a part of Theater of the Universe where we deal with what happened to God's church. God loves his church, but what happened is his church became so about itself, it forgot about its mission and the people, that then it became what we call papal. Mark of the beast. It's all about us, not about God, right? And we Christians that are Protestant can be no better sometimes. Even us Seventh-day Adventists. Sometimes all we think about is ourselves. That is called little horn in the Bible, in the book of Revelation, the book of Daniel. But I digress. Let's continue with the story. Then up came McBean with a very sly wink. Okay, he's going to make some money, right? Ready? Business is good when people don't like each other. He said, things are not quite as bad as you think. He says this to the ones with the original stars. So you don't know who's who, and that's perfectly true. But come with me, friends. Do you know what I'll do? I'll make you again the best Sneeches on the beaches. And all it will cost you is just $10 eaches. You notice it's $3 to put it on, right? $10 to take it off. He understood that the ones that had the stars had the money, So it's interesting. The ones with money get just as hoodwinked as the ones without money. And notice that in life? Let's continue on. So the belly stars are no longer in style, said McBean. What you need is a trip through my star-off machine. Notice it's a different color. I love that. The wondrous contraption will take off your stars so you won't look like Sneeches who have them on theirs. And that handy machine worked very precisely, removed all the stars from their tummies quite what? Nicely. Here we go again. How do you like that? Do you like how the revolution happened? It's like the French Revolution. You have the guys on top, Louis up here, and then you have a revolution. Turns like this, and now Louis is getting beheaded, right? But then guess what? The very ones who were beheading about 8 months later, back again. This is how politics works. This is why it is so dangerous. Let's continue on. Then the snoots in the air, they paraded about. And they opened their beaks, and they let out a shout. We know who is who. Now there isn't a doubt. The best kind of Sneeches are Sneeches without. Do you see what Dr. Zeus is telling you? Actually, do you see what truth is being seen? Then, of course, those with stars all got frightfully mad. Look at their faces. Look at those. I love the artwork. To be wearing a star now was frightfully bad. Then, of course, old Sylvester McMonkey McBean invited them to his star-off machine. And then, of course, then on, as you probably guessed, things got really into a terrible mess. At the rest of the day, on those wild screaming beaches, the fix-up chappie kept fixing up Sneeches. Off again, on again, in again, out again. Through the machines they raced round and round and about again, changing their stars every minute or two. They kept paying money. They kept running through until neither the plane or the star-belly Sneeches knew whether one was one or the one was, this is where I get in my mouth, or that one was which one was this one, or which one was that one, or what was who. Do you see that? I love this, actually. You see that symbol right there? What is that symbol? Infinity. Yes, that is life, isn't it? That is us wanting to please ourselves and others. And I want you to see a big pile of cash. Look at him. Sylvester McMonkey. Who's the winner in this? Hey, he's the one that's smart. He's the one that came up with the answer for everything. But really, it isn't him that's the enemy. It's us. Because we are the ones that absolutely have to be awesome instead of just being ourselves and loving someone else because they are themselves. Do you see the problem? Jesus died for people, not with ones with stars on their bellies or the watch on the arm or Teslas on their hand or whatever it is. Whatever thing we have as our idol. Jesus didn't die for that. He died for you. Then, when every last cent of their money was spent, the fix-up chappie picked up and he went. He laughed as he... Look at that. I love that. Look at the look on his face. You see that? I loved it. You know, actually, never mind. All right. I'd love to look like him. Never mind. All right. So he's got all that money flying all over the place, right? Money's flying out. As he's hauling off with his cool machine, you know, that kind of awesome machine there. His fix-up chappie packed up and went, and he laughed as he drove his car up the beach. They never will learn. No, you can't teach a Sneech. Are you a Sneech today? Or can you learn? But McBean was quite what? Was quite wrong. I'm quite happy to say that the Sneeches got really quite smart on that what? You see what's going on? I love it. There's always the fish. You know that fish from, and I don't even remember what his name is, from Cat in the Hat, the one that comes out of the water and talks all the time, is upset about everything. There he is. He's so happy right now. The Sneeches got quite smart on that day. The day they decided that Sneeches are what? Sneeches. And no kind of Sneech is best on the beaches. That day, all of the Sneeches forgot about stars and whether they had won or not upon theirs. But I don't need to read it again. I had to put the fish in there. That's why. You see the fish? I love the fish. This world is looking for people that don't care about what you look like on the outside. People in this world, sometimes they're so trained to hate anyone not like themselves. But on the inside, they want to be reached. They want a church. They want somewhere where they can be family. Family that is not based on color of skin, language, background, part of the world that they grew up in, but family that is based upon love that flows from Jesus Christ. My friends, if I'm going to be a Sneech, I want to be a Sneech that likes other Sneeches no matter what they have on their belly. I love that picture there with them playing ball together. Kind of reminds me of my view of what heaven is going to be like. I know, we're probably not going to look like them. Just I hope we don't look like them. But you know what? If I look like them, I don't care. You know why? Because Jesus loves however you look. Jesus loves your background, and I don't care what politics you have. Doesn't matter to him. What matters to him is you. It includes me, hopefully. God bless you all.